thank you all so much for staying with us throughout the day. So Arthur is going to be taking us through our last part of the itinerary for today. Arthur, where are you? Oh, there you are.
I'm here. I can see me. Maybe
I can see you too now.
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
Great job, everyone. You've made it this far. There's only a little ways to go before the final boss. You know, you get to fight Bowser in the castle and save Princess Peach if you ever played Mario. Anyways, so we are in the digital world, so it kind of makes sense. But thank you so much for all of your time. Of course, if you have to go, you know, you're not stuck with us, but we would love for you to stay because we want to kind of come back and get some bigger open discussion to happen. We do have one more Jamboard we're going to be working on, which is kind of like setting some intentions for moving forward, some objectives. I want to share that soon. And then we're going to have a closing poll, just like letting us know if you learned anything, if you thought this was cool, or if it's terrible, we never do it again. And then for anyone who was in Valerie's workshop, she also has a little survey for you. So just so you know, but let's go ahead and hear from each of our 3 facilitators for the most recent breakout session, Joyce, Maria, and Susie. If you can just give a short 1.5 minute report back, just letting us know how it went, what were some of the main ideas, outcomes, and we'll kind of review our Jamboard before moving on to the last activity. So yeah, why don't let's have Joyce first, raising your hand.
Thanks. I appreciate being able to go first. I have a little bit of a hard stop for the next meeting. So, our group really talked about land use and how land use can really support economic development around food systems, and gave a few examples of what the Riverside Food Systems Alliance and the projects that it's been working on. And in our group, really, the question that was asked was, what's, related to land use and how do we work with building and can support the food systems work. And they nailed it, in the sense that they identified, we have to elevate farmers and make farming sexy, right? And so farmers provide some incredible services, right? I think I read a quote somewhere that you need farmers every day to feed yourself, right? But you don't need other necessary, and there are fewer industries that, is not an essential, right? And farmers are necessary because, right, the average age of farmers is in the mid-high 60s and increasing. The other thing that we talked, that the group really identified was understanding zoning and supporting land use policies that support ag. And this is at all different levels, not only at the government level, but also in the development process, right? And being in those conversations. And one idea that I was able to pull out from the group's suggestions, maybe for consideration for a future session, is what is the public process like? Understanding that. So maybe having a couple of speakers come in to do a session on that public process to help folks say, who don't normally engage, have not had that engagement in there. How do we do that? How do they do that? So I think a session like that could be helpful for some folks. Education and communications is really important as well, about the need for this space. I'm involved in other groups and development groups, and agriculture frequently does not come up because, if you didn't know this already, less than, depending on where you're from, I would say around 1% of our population is in farmers. And how often are farmers who understand agriculture are at the table when it comes to conversations around development, land use, et cetera, these things, right? And so really, really important to be involved in that communication and education of what agriculture does, and be a voice. And then cooperation is also incredible as well. That was a theme that our group talked about. And then I know that we had 3 other questions in the JAM group for these sessions. So I'm not going to speak to those because the other groups did some really great job in identifying some responses from those. Thank you.
Thanks, Joyce. Maria, would you like to go next and share a little bit about the conversation in your room? Si te gustaría compartir el siguiente. Oh, pero está en mute. Yeah.
Gracias por dejarme saber. Con mucho gusto comparto, con mi grupo estuvimos viendo cómo transformar tierras abandonadas en suelos ricos y fértiles. Y trajimos a la mesa pues varios factores de necesidad dentro de las comunidades, ¿no? Muchos estuvimos teniendo las ideas y las sugerencias, ¿verdad? Que como una organización sin fines de lucro, lo que hace fortalecer es el voluntariado. Pero también trajimos el cómo implementar más, como decía Joyce, ¿no? Los agricultores, porque agricultores ocupamos día a día para enriquecer los suelos, para crear alimento, para la agricultura urbana, para las estrategias ecológicas, necesitamos de esa mano de obra. Y yo siempre mi pendiente es esto, ¿verdad? ¿Por qué? Porque no tenemos el auge o el interés o el entusiasmo de tener agricultores o del desarrollo de más personas que se motiven a hacerlo. Y una de las cosas que yo compartía con el grupo es de que no tenemos un estímulo de salarios. Sus salarios como agricultores son muy bajos y esto es algo donde no somos capaces de. ¿Por qué? Porque el alimento, una vez que sale la producción, el precio al mercado es muy competitivo y no lo pagan al precio que es lo que se le está metiendo por la semilla, por el trabajo del agricultor, por esto. Entonces, es algo como de apoyo a nuestros líderes políticos, abogacía a algo que retribuya esa pasión y ese sentir. Aunque muchos tenemos la pasión de hacerlo, pero viendo los salarios, pues mejor me dedico a otra cosa, ¿verdad? Entonces, hubo varios puntos que compartieron dentro de nuestro JamBoard, pero sí uno de ellos es que sobre todo la organización sin fines de lucro es mucho trabajar con el voluntariado y la abogacía por justicia.
Muchas gracias. But let's go to Susie and then we're actually, wow, time flies. So we have about 15 minutes in the entire thing. And I know some people have to jump off a little early. So what we'll do is Susie go, and then I'm going to share the third Jamboard. And what we can do, Susan, is if when I do that, you can share your screen and we can all just kind of jam in that session together. And people can feel free to ask more questions, add to that Jamboard, which has a bunch of questions. And then hopefully with like a minute or two left, I'll put the last poll in the chat. So sound good, Susie?
Yes, yeah, I can go quickly. But yeah, I really appreciated everyone who joined my session, and I feel like I got a lot of great feedback out of that on this question of what resource conservation districts can do to help more in this space. And we did have some conversations similar to Joyce's group regarding engaging with policymakers and how that's going to be really key, I think, to setting up our region for considering agriculture when plans are being developed. And some of the opportunities for resource conservation districts that came up that were really, really great. Really appreciate everyone sharing, but includes, how can we engage more with general plan updates, work on urban tree projects, supporting community gardens further, and then eventually through this SOUT grant that we're working on, how can we build more opportunities for farmers to access land and make it a equitable and good job, kind of like Maria was saying, how can we make these good, positive jobs instead of something that feels like not an opportunity to, make a livelihood on. So we have a lot as an RCD that we can certainly address, and really appreciate everyone's feedback and conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so without it, there's a couple of things in the chat coming up. So right here in the chat is our last Jamboard. It's right here. I just posted it. Let's all head over there and we're going to share our screen. And this is an opportunity to kind of start to think about some opportunities. And then Susan posted Valerie's survey. So if you were in Valerie's session or you learned anything from Valerie today, which we all did, please go ahead and fill that out. So now we're over in this last Jamboard, and here's question number 1, which is, what are some key points that you learned from our presenters today? We would love for you to just put them in your own words. It's a great way for you to memorize them, but also for us to know what was valuable. There are a bunch of pages. So question 2 is, in the Inland Empire, what does going from dirt cheap to soil rich mean to you as an idea? We would love to get your input on that. 3 is, what are some visionary goals and objectives we can set for the IE in the next 10 to 20 years? Really want to hear what folks have to say about that. And what does the new storage economy look like to you? There's also a list where we can place needs and assets. So if you want to go in there and put all the needs that you can think of, and then also, what are the assets that are already available to us? For example, we already have wonderful community gardens. We already have wonderful educators. We already have this amazing RCD and community organizers and organizations that are part of campaigns. So we can all be part of that. It's not always about reinventing the wheel. And then there's a couple more questions. What are you doing now to achieve Black, Indigenous, and people of color land and food sovereignty? And what should government, private interests, community groups, academic institutions do? And last but not least, who needs to be at the table in these discussions of land use and food systems? And is there a way for our goods movement, which is really dominating the economy in the IE and other economies in the IE, to be both convenient and just, or justice oriented? So yeah. I know it's a lot, but let's hop in there and start sharing.
And just to add to what Arthur's saying, those last questions are actually from our presenters to you. They were ones that were co-generated by the folks who were involved in the presentations this morning. And so, I mean, yeah, let's focus on the first ones. And then, these Jamboards, we can leave them open for folks to weigh in on, if that works. I just don't know that we'll have time to get to all of them today. We've got about 10 minutes left, Arthur.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, please hop over to those, and 1 or 2 responses to each question would be awesome. It doesn't have to be 1,000, but if you're inspired, we would like to hear as much as you have to share. And in the meantime, while you're doing that, multitasking, OMG, I don't know how you translate OMG. Ay, Dios mío. Okay, anyways. HDM, yeah, okay. Anyways, if you have any questions for our presenters, Valerie, Ali, Andrea, Maria, Joyce, who maybe had to hop off, Susie, or of course, any questions for the Conservancy, Robert Redford Conservancy, Susan, myself, Xenia, feel free to go ahead and start putting them in the chat, and we'll try to get to as many of them as we can. If you have a question for a specific person, you can just put their name as well. And we're really appreciative for all of the work you're doing in helping us to build these ideas and these visions, because all of the Post-it notes you're putting in here, we're gonna capture them, we're gonna take photos of them and try to kind of synthesize something that will be useful to all of you. So any questions you have, feel free to put them in the chat, in Spanish, in English, in any language.
Can you see the chat, Arthur? Because
yes.
I'm sharing my screen, I can't see. I
can see the chat, yeah. So if anyone puts questions, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then I am also in about 5 minutes, because we're good. Still got 9 minutes left. Plenty of time to throw your ideas out there. And also, it doesn't have to necessarily be something you want to say to the group. It could also be something you want someone else to hear, like the Department of Conservation or a funder, or you might want a local government official, elected official to hear. You know, feel free to put it down there because you never know where it might end up. Joyce is saying, thank you, Joyce. And we're really looking forward to continuing working with you. You're amazing. And yeah, everyone reach out to Joyce if you want to get involved in anything that she's doing or have any questions. So thanks for being here. So yeah, in about 5 minutes, I'll put the final poll as well, which is just gonna kind of close out everything, but let's keep going with that Jamboard. I'm already seeing in question number 1, love the data map, making the case for who's being convenienced. Good data is the basis for powerful narrative. Many of the warehouses will be converted to food production. That's cool. Land use, oh, it's too small, I can't read. Do I need glasses? Maybe.
You need to do this. Land use needs to be more fair and equitable. The IE is rich in land, and taking care of it now is imperative. Could not agree more. There's a much stronger need to hold our policy makers more accountable with addressing the needs of community land use. I see the IE as part of the breadbasket of Southern California. Millions are spent on food purchased outside the IE. Promoting local agriculture that is accessible for local low-income BIPOC communities. Regenerative resources for communities in the IE on regenerative practices. I think one of the key things is lack of funding. I mean, you know, these farm projects are struggling. You know, it may seem, hearing them talk about all their successes, that, you know, there's nothing but richness there, but it is nothing but struggle. And so funders need to pay more attention. Foundations need to be drawn to this area. We need more investment in these ideas. And so that's another, I think, continuing part of the conversation, like, how do we get there? How do we make that part of it happen so that people with great ideas, a lot of energy, great actions, and access to land already need funding. They need funding to support those projects. Other folks have questions, comments?
On page 2, going from dirt cheap to soil rich, folks said building soil, saving our open space, open public space for unhoused communities. That's a huge issue that we didn't even get a chance to talk about, but yeah, really, really important. Investing in organics, steering clear of synthetic pesticide use, bringing land equity to all. Investing funds and attention into growing food locally. Better land use, more green space, amazing.
And transforming and regenerating the food system economy to be a benefit to all the IE. Oh, nice. Taking advantage of the land availability to support people and the environment, not profit.
Some of the visionary goals that are popping up, definitely make sure you chime in on that one. That's question number 3. Having local sustainable food systems available in each city in the IE. Be mindful that the IE will remain a target for huge solar developments, which means stakeholders need to develop meaningful positions to protect IE soils. Very interesting. Yeah, even the kind of green development can become a kind of competitive space. Huerta del Valle's goal of a garden every mile, love it. Creating a local NYFC chapter in this region to stay informed with local food and ag policy, and to collectively participate and organize. What is NYFC? Whoever put that one.
National Young Farmers Coalition.
Ah, cool. And Huerta del Valle has a farmer training program, which Tracy, who just shared that, is part of, as does Riverside Food System Alliance. So definitely, if you're interested in training to become a farmer or a sustainable land steward, you can check out Huerta's program and Riverside Food Systems Alliance program for that.
Yeah, and on the 4th page, what does the new storage economy look like to you? the key of it is, this person, maybe I jumped in too late to get keyed into the concept, using the soil to store carbon, sequestration, and using this as a source of local economic growth. So maybe we can have, the profit in a different way. Maybe we can think about profit in a different way and think about our land assets as the key, protecting our land assets as the key to new forms of resilience and profit. We did not get into the weeds of that vision today in terms of economy. We are going to have a second round, I think, of this conference next spring, in which we really get into the weeds of that. We're hoping to do that. So we'll definitely keep you posted, but that is the key. I think that's one of the keys to why this region is so critically important, and how it's actually has a unique asset that not every place has, that is currently going in the direction of detriment, but can come back. And actually, we hope and we want to see a way that it comes into part of the solutions for the future of our region and elsewhere.
That's right. Yeah, definitely stay tuned for round 2 of this and getting more in depth. Hopefully we'll be able to be in person by then. I did just put in the chat Maria and Tracy's email. They're the ones to contact regarding farmer training. So you can also reach out to Joyce, who is one of the other presenters, about their farmer training program. So there's 2 in the region that are really good. The Huerta one is active now. What I'm gonna do, hopefully it won't make everyone's brains explode, is put the last poll, and it's really short. Oops. Oh, okay. I'm gonna put the last poll in the chat, so please hang out just for a second more. So go ahead and go to that. You can give us some feedback about how the day went. Really appreciative of everyone's time. We have 1 minute to go. So if you can just fill out that poll before you head out, it's really quick. And then anyone who is inspired to can keep working on the Jamboard for a little bit if you want to. Yeah, so it's for you. But we're really grateful that everyone was here. It really helps us to do the last poll. So if you can, don't skip it. And all of us are here to be collaborated and connected with. So feel free to reach out. I'm hoping people got to do some networking. If you want to get in contact with the Redford Conservancy, Susan and myself, any of the organizations, Huerta, Feed Black Futures, Indian Health Inc., Peace Edge, which is People's Collective for Environmental Justice, Cooperativa Brújulas, which is who are doing the amazing language justice interpretation. I'm sure they can be reached out to, if you need that for your work. They're really amazing. And Riverside Food Systems Alliance and IERCD, Inland Empire Resource Conservation District. All of these folks are really inspiring, continue to be inspirations to us, and we hope that they inspired you as well. And, let's save the planet and whatnot.
Thank you so much. And Arthur and presenters, appreciate your wisdom, your time, your knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing it. Audience, it was a long 3 hours at a busy time of year. Really grateful to have you here today. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
We'll be circulating the recording of this. It'll be posted on the Redford Conservancy website if anyone wants to go back to it, hopefully including the recordings of the chat rooms that you were not in. So once again, thanks to Arthur, thanks to Xenia, thanks to Chris, thanks to all the folks who supported us today, and especially to our presenters.
Gracias.
Bye, everybody.